For the forum, first agenda item is adoption of the agenda. I'm just looking into the room, or to those who attend the meeting virtually via Zoom. Do you have any additions to the agenda? Or can we accept the agenda as it is? Thank you very much. Then we have adopted the agenda. And the next agenda item is the forum report of the forum number 6, Glasgow, 10th of November last year. You have got the report in a written format. Are there any comments to the report? If not, then I say thank you very much to those who have produced that report, Paul and the whole team. So it's a long document. But everybody who likes to know what happened in Glasgow then is able to read it. Next agenda item is the annual activity report by Paul. Paul, you have got 3 minutes.
Okay, I hope that you can see my screen. Yes, it is. So I will try to do my best to respect the extended 3 minutes. And so just a quick look at the roadmap that we had last year, but you will find the same construction of the roadmap for this year, for next year also in the coming presentation. Now we try to stick to the operational framework and being able to have a declination of this operational framework in the roadmap. So we have 6 core facilities that were impacted by the roadmap of the Secretariat, and the initiative is the strategy and implementation plan, governance and administration, advocacy and awareness, networking and collaboration, partnership and alliance, and cross-cutting action. So last year, as Mr. Zonbar just said, we had the forum in Glasgow. It was chaired by Gabriel Bastien, and you can find all the information in the document that we have just adopted. And we had the inspirational speech by Liane Vinoviecki and Professor Ratan Lal about the newborn cash coalition at that time. And we had also several presentations by farmers. We also had the opportunity to have the meeting of the consortium, who just make some decision about the renewal of the STC and some information concerning the implementation plan and the approval of the first version of the implementation plan. That was the main, I would say, decision on top of the budget, the statutory meeting, and the roadmap were usual, and of course, admitting the new partners and members. During the year also, there were 2 meetings of the STC in hybrid in Montpellier, and one who finished yesterday in Sharm el-Sheikh. So on June in Montpellier and on the 14th and 15th of November in Sharm el-Sheikh. It was the time for the STC to prepare a document that will be presented after me. It's the first year of the STC activity in a report, and the main finding and the main achievement of the STC during this period of time, and also the STC work on the collaboration with the Global Action and also the preparation of scientific articles, and with the important issue on the regional management practices with positive soil carbon impact to meet the 4 Permit initiative goals at the level of various regions in the world. During the year also, we had 6 meetings of the Bureau. I will come back to that in the consortium in this afternoon, I mean at the end of the day. And the Bureau is a very important body of the initiative because it can meet during 2 meetings of the consortium and make decisions about the development of the implementation plan for 2050, and also the validation of new members of the STC in replacement of Lini Vollenberg and Professor Saïdou Sall by Dr. Bossio and Professor Olaley. We had also some work during the preparation of this initiative day with the Bureau. So during the year, we had the approval of the implementation plan. It was approved through an electronic validation. I should say that the number of members that answered to this validation is not very high. It's only 12% of the members, and we would like to have a little bit more responses from the members when we ask their decision, because after, if people come and said, we would like to be part of the decision, okay, you are part of the decision, so please vote, as we said in all country. Don't forget to do this very important action for the life of the initiative. Well, I will not go through all the list, but you will be able to find that also in the report. All the international meeting, the 4PML initiative was present with the STC members, with the executive secretariat members, with the presidency. So there are many, and of course with the hybrid or online meetings, it's easier for us to participate to a lot of meetings. But it's good because we bring the idea and the objective of the initiative all along with a lot of partners. During the year, we had also continuing relation with other initiative and partnership. We participate to side event during the COP15 in Abidjan of UNFCCC with Claudia that was there in person. We participate to the launch, the kickoff meeting of Orcaza that was at the beginning of this month, in fact. We participate to the General Assembly of the Global Soil Partnership, to the edition of Planet Earth Forum, and of course we are continuing participating to meeting as partner of the UN Decade on Ecosystem Restoration. We participate to the online monthly dialogue of the Friends of the Soil Health of WBCSD, and we participate to the numerous meetings of the Coalition for Action for Soil Health and the Coalition on agroecology. If you are very attentive of the evolution of our website, you have seen that the website evolved this year, and we enrich it a lot, the same as our platform, collaborative platform with AFRIS, with the creation of a knowledge base, which is a very important heart of the whole process. And we really would like you to have a look to this. You will find all information about the members, all partners. You will find information about the events and the various calls that could be there, and of course the resources that are available through our members and partners. And we also work a lot on the animation of the Climate Soil Nexus Community of Practice, originally developed with the GIZ help, and this year GIZ was a great help for us to provide some fund to continue to work on this very important work. And also we had the initiative virtual fair during the Green Week in June. So on the communication side, you would have seen that we have many numbers of the newsletter, and we are particularly happy that in July we produced a special VTVini booklet with the OIV team, that we signed an agreement with them, and we have produced this document. We work on the graphic of the small leaflet for the initiative in order to bring that to your friends and being able to express to them the importance to be in the initiative. So we continue to be present also on the YouTube channel and on the social networks. So you will find the figure over there, but it's interesting that we are always present on those various channels of communication. And also we update the database of the members and the partners with more and more international membership and partnership. Some other activities, we produce a book that is called Farmers of the Earth in Their Hands. And this book is in French, English, and Spanish, with a preface by Stéphane Le Foll and Gabriel Bastien and Ibrahim Mayaki. And this is interesting because it can bring the information about what we consider to be important to develop in the future, but also making accessible to all what is the agroecology, what is the relation between soil, carbon, and climate change, and so on. So please help us, because all the right for this book is devoted to the 4PML initiative. So each book sold will give a little bit of money to the initiative. So we continue to collaborate with the FAO team on some very important electronic tools, ABC Map, Next, and Aurora, and we will have the opportunity to to discuss a little bit more on that this afternoon, but I would like to thank the Ministry of Agriculture in France to help us with a good allocation of $100,000 to allow this work to take place. So we also had at the beginning of the year a call for engagement for healthy soil that we have sent through a letter signed by all the president and vice president to 81 ministers of agriculture all around the world. And we received some answer, and definitely this helped also the resolution that we pushed with cash and the 4 per meal during this COP to have soil health at a very, very high level of the agenda. We received some fellowship and partner and internship, and we will receive some more in the future. And it's very important for us. It helps us, but it also helps people to understand what we are doing in the initiative. So it was already said that we signed an agreement with OIV. We signed an agreement with the African Agriculture Adaptation Foundation at the beginning of the year, with the Safe Soil Movement of Sadhguru at the beginning of the year, also with FARM, the Foundation for Agriculture and Rurality in the World, in last month in Paris. And we had the GIZ as a patronage for the virtual fair. And we received some money through our hosting entity. So just this is the situation of our partners and members, 739 today, before we adopt some more in the afternoon. So this figure is increasing, and it's really showing that people are giving more and more importance to the work we are doing and try to join us, to join efforts in that objective. So I will maybe not extend too much. We spent 368 kilo euro during the year, because that was the amount almost we were available to us, thanks to Spanish, French Ministry of Agriculture, from GIZ, McDonald, and from Ele Nature, but also to the Ministry of Germany, Spanish, Spain, and French for the secondment. That allows us to have a little bit of means to work. Well, we hope that it will improve in the coming year, because we really are a little bit at a too low level to be really efficient. So that's all, I think, for the report. I try to do my best. This is the situation of the Secretariat, and we hope to have the opportunity to welcome more members in the Secretariat.
Thank you very much, Paul. And it was only a little bit longer than 3 minutes. Yeah, question to you. Do you have questions to Paul or comments? My impression only was that Paul doesn't have any more time for doing carbon sequestration in the own garden, because looking at the activity report, there are many activities ongoing and many meetings where you're attending, and that's good that you put the message onto the table of the different meetings and in the different arenas. And I think we have to go on with that. And you're right, more money would always be good. But I know how hard it is to get more money. But if there is the possibility, and that's a call to all of the members and partners, look if we can put more money into the work of the Secretariat and into the work of the Qatar per Million initiative. Good, thank you very much, Paul, and all the others doing the work. It's really hard work. And the next presentation is now from the STC, the activity report, and also the 6-year activity report. And I'm happy that Beverly Henry is here. And now, again, extended 3 minutes. Try it.
I'll do my best. Thank you, Chair. And it's a pleasure to give this presentation to you today on behalf of all members of the STC. It's not my presentation, it's theirs. And I'm going to talk to you about what we've done since the inception of the committee in 2016, with some emphasis on the last year. So just a reminder that, next slide, thanks, Beatrice, that the STC is made up of 14 members, who are selected for their expertise in key technical areas to give a balance across the range of the range of knowledge that's needed to support the 4 per mil. There's also a view to gender and geographical balance, and you can see from the slide there where the current members come from, countries in green. And I also acknowledge past STC members who have contributed to this work. So the STC members meet roughly twice a year. Over the last 2 days, we've had our 14th meeting since the inception in 2016. And most attend. We've had to have hybrid meetings the last couple of times, and before that they were virtual because of COVID, but we continue to meet. In addition to the members, the chair of ITPS is a permanent invitee, and we also have wonderful technical support at all of our meetings from the Executive Secretariat, and particularly from Paloma. So, and we really do appreciate, we couldn't operate without that support. Next slide, thanks. So I want to talk to you about the achievements, but to do it in a way that fits into not too much more than 3 minutes, we've grouped the key achievements under 4 areas. So framing an international scientific research and cooperation program, which was one of the first actions undertaken by the committee. Consolidating and strengthening the knowledge base of the initiative for the work of 4 per mil. Establishing reference criteria and indicators for project assessment, and I'll explain that a little bit more. And then contributing to other high-level initiatives. No one can operate on soil carbon in isolation. We have to collaborate and to contribute. Next slide. So the first of those 4 issues, framing an international scientific research and cooperation program. This was a really important work to identify the priorities for the science, for the research. And it was done in a way that grouped them under 4 pillars: estimating soil organic carbon storage potential and benefits, developing adaptive management practices, defining and strengthening enabling environments. So that involves things like identifying practices that are appropriate for regions, and then monitoring, reporting and verification. Now, each of these has its own challenges, and each of them can act as a barrier to further work. So it's important that we have that input to make the work of 4 per mil easier. The other important aspect of this, next slide, is that it has impact beyond the 4 per mil initiative. It actually influences other work and aligns a broader body of research. So the EJP soil, for instance, or CASA, and now the development of the International Research Consortium on Soil Carbon, all have strong alignment with those research priorities that were developed under the 4 per mil Scientific and Technical Committee. And that makes it much easier to get good integration and collaboration. Okay, so moving on, the next aspect of our achievements is consolidating the knowledge base of the initiative. And this is really core to what a scientific and technical committee should do. So most of that work, being as research exists as technical papers. So just to give a few examples, this isn't the complete body of work, but these are really important papers. Under the knowledge base for 4 per 1,000, there have been high-level journals, journal articles contributed to journals like Nature, Ambio, and Soil Security that contain key work to understand how soil carbon can be increased. The last of those 3 I'll mention because it was published this year and it's very topical. The role of soil carbon sequestration in enhancing human resilience in tackling global crises, including pandemics. And there's been quite a lot of interest in that work because it is so topical. And that's how the committee can adapt to key issues of the day to raise awareness. Another recent publication that's just come out now is a topical collection on regional practices and examples of research from regions around the world. You can see the red spots on the map, which are the countries that are and areas that are represented in those papers. It's a collection of 20 papers, doesn't cover everywhere, but it's a start on understanding regional differences. And that's just come out as a collection of these 20 papers. The third example there is how we're responding to scientific controversies. Soil carbon is an emerging, newish science in some ways. Its application to climate change is relatively new in a science sense. There will be debate, there will be differences of opinion, but we have to be involved in helping to understand why those differences exist and to resolve them. And there's 3 papers there that are opinion pieces or comments that help to bring different views together and to work on understanding how to further the science. In addition to, next slide, thanks. In addition to the journal papers, there are other publications that have been supported by the committee. That picture there is a very large book that has just in the last day or two been published and released on understanding and fostering soil carbon sequestration. So it encompasses nearly 30 chapters, 29 chapters that cover understanding carbon sequestration in soils, measuring and managing carbon sequestration in soils, and some papers on socio-economic, legal and policy issues. Now, this book was edited as the chief editor by Dr. Cornelia Rumpel, who is a member of the committee, and there are papers and that have been contributed by STC members as well. And in addition to that, there's a whole range of presentations that are given throughout the year by different members at regional and international conferences. And it all helps to expand the knowledge base. The third area that I'd like to mention is establishing reference criteria and indicators for project assessment. Now, this is a really important way of contributing to the goal of 4 per thousand to help projects be undertaken and help more people get involved in being able to include soil carbon activities, soil carbon sequestration activities in what they're doing. So the reference criteria and indicators enable a formative assessment of projects to see whether they meet the principles and goals of the initiative. And if they're given a tick on doing that, they can use that to help leverage funding too. The reference criteria and indicators were developed to be consistent with the goals of the Paris Declaration and with the UN SDGs. These are important high-level guidances. And particularly in the SDGs, for those that are familiar with them, there's SDG 2 on zero hunger, SDG 13 on climate action, SDG 15 on land conservation restoration. All of these are consistent with the vision of the initiative, but also with the science areas that need further research and further implementation. Next slide, thanks. Using those criteria and indicators, members of the SDC have helped to assess projects and provide technical advice based on response to a call that the Secretariat has put out each year since 2019 now. So over those 4 years and 4 calls for projects, there's been 52 submitted, and they've come from all over the world, and they're seeking evaluation and very interested in knowing whether what they're doing is consistent with soil carbon sequestration goals of the initiative. Of those 52 projects, 17 were assessed as being in line with 4 per thousand initiative objectives. And the project proponents were given advice then on how to improve their projects, their measurement of soil carbon and other aspects to improve that alignment. So it's a very valuable outreach area. The final area I'll mention in my 3 minutes is their contribution to high-level initiatives. And as I said, we can't operate in isolation. We have to be involved in these high-level initiatives to have impact. So firstly, in policy-related initiatives, we've made submissions to the Coronavia Joint Work on Agriculture, which is ongoing, and improving nationally determined contributions, encouraging to account for soil in a way that will enable soil carbon sequestration to be included in NDCs and therefore in meeting Paris Agreement targets. These are just two examples. There are a number of areas where we're able to contribute to policy. And the second area of high-level initiative is more about soil health and soil carbon. And there are a number here as well. And a high-level one, of course, is the Global Soil Partnership, GSP of the FAO. And the reports and documents and protocols have involved members of the STC, and that collaboration is important and is ongoing. So that's basically a summary of these achievements that we've got, and many of them are ongoing. I just want to mention that in our planning for 2023, the STC is looking to present some webinars, and these are intended to address complex issues, perhaps controversial issues, but areas where the science can be brought together. And based on what comes out of those webinars, we're looking to produce some info notes. So there'll be two ways of disseminating that knowledge that comes out of that effort. And I'd ask all members of the forum to look at the webinars when they're publicised on the website, and to consider joining us and to give us your insights as well. And my last comment is to thank all members that have contributed to the work of the Scientific and Technical Committee that allow that work to continue, and to use the outputs, those that use the outputs that we're able to produce. I won't go through everyone because I'll miss someone, but I'll make special mention of Paul and Paloma and the Executive Secretariat, because without their help, we wouldn't operate. So thank you for your attention.
Yeah, thank you very much, Beverly, and thank you very much also to you for all your efforts and for your work, and to all the others in the SCC. And it's really impressive to see also the book and all the other documents which have been produced during that time. And I still believe that's very important, not only to have the policy level or the experts, we need the scientific background of all that, what we are doing. Thank you very much. Now I'm looking into
Could I just mention
plenary.
On the table out there, there are forms about the book if anyone is interested.
Okay, thank you very much. Do you have questions to Beverly? If not, then we can go ahead. Thank you very much. So next one is now the implementation plan. Who will be first? Beatrice? Beatrice, she's already there, telling us something about the strategic plan and the operational framework. And you will share your screen, yes.
Good morning, everyone. I will be quick with this presentation, reminding us the different steps we have been through since 2020. As you know, we have been working on the FOPEMIC Strategic Plan 2050, and it was adopted in June 2020 by the consortium of members. We have 24 strategic objectives with goals and targets identified for 2030 and 2050, with a baseline in 2020. Next. In 2021, these strategic objectives were reviewed by task forces, so 24 task forces, and with the idea to come towards the implementation strategy. So it was made thanks with the Delphi study and thanks to the collaborative platform in which more than 350 people could interact and give their ideas about it. And the findings of that work were presented in Glasgow last year. Next. In 2022, so this year, at the Executive Secretariat, we have reviewed all the suggestions of the task forces, and we have 162 activities that resulted from their work, and we have organized them in 12 categories. In parallel, based on the proposals they made, so each strategic objective has been reviewed again 2 years after, and a revision of the titles, description, baseline, etc. So this work has led to 2 things: the version 2 of the strategic plan 2050 and the version 1 of the implementation plan. And the latter one was also approved this summer on electronic way. So in parallel of this, the 24 strategic objectives have been split into 2 families. First, the co-facilities and the global facilities. Next, please. So the co-facilities here on the left of the screen. So it means strategy, governance, advocacy, so like program, networking, partnership and alliances, cross-cutting actions are and will be led by the Executive Secretariat, mainly through partnerships. On the right side, the global facilities will be led by alliances that will be formed and facilitated by the FOPEMIL Executive Secretariat. So it also means that the co-facilities are funded by the budget, the operating budget of the Executive Secretariat, and that the global facilities will have to find their own operating budget and the project budget to be operated. Next part. And as a reminder, the operational framework, where you see that we have the governance with the exec, the STC, foreign partners, consortium, task forces, and alliances and partnership will come out of it. Next. This is, yes, next. And this is the final presentation, which is this slide is about the operation framework. And you see that the whole organization is based on the work that we will be doing for the beneficiaries, with the producers in the middle of our action, and of course with the help of legal and financial support from the co-facilities and scientific and technical assistance from the global facilities, keeping in mind that FOPEMIL is also here to have a transformative action on the ground. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Beatrice. Have questions to the presentation of Beatrice? I hope, Paul, the presentations will be shown on the website as well afterwards. Yes, so everybody who'd like to have a look at it afterwards can do so. Jean-François?
Thank you, Chair. Just a short question. Thank you, Beatrice, for our presentation. And we can see all this is evolving very well and quickly. Okay, maybe I should turn this side. My question is about, you've listed a number of tasks to be operated within alliances. How many of those alliances are operating today, and how many need to be developed? I mean, what is already working on that side, and what needs to be done still?
Yeah, thank you. Now you need a microphone. Come back to stage and then you can answer the question.
Thank you for your questions. What I can already say is that we've been moving a lot on partnerships since a long time, and I have a list for the consortium. I will be able to show that list this afternoon. And for coalitions, maybe Paul, you can tell a bit more, but he has been briefly talked about a work made by FAO the 4 million initiative and with the AFD behind this. Maybe Paul, you can say a bit about this?
Yeah, in fact, the other part, the core facilities, is that we try to do since several years, but on the global facility is just a new part of the whole things. And we need to build such alliance. Some of them are starting to exist, but most of them will be built through project and the implementation cycle that we will just present to you right now. So we will need to have another step. So I would like you to understand the huge amount of work that was done from the strategic plan, implementation plan, and now the cycle that will be presented to you. All together will help all of us, all the wishing participants to be part of it. But you're right, we are at the beginning of the process for the core facilities, for the global facilities. For the core facilities, we are already working for several years.
And sorry, I had the last slide, but I wanted to be quicker, where we are here to do a call for engagement in these coalitions today.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Is there another question? Oh, yes. Yeah, you behind the stage.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Beatrice, for this very nice presentation and quite clear. And I fully agree with Jean-François. A lot of work has been done, and the move is quite high speed and very well organized. So thank you for that. And what I would like to say is also to thank the STC for the work, many activities, many deliverables in different type of scientific arenas, which is for me very good. What I would like to echo Jean-François, it's when you are talking about alliance, is there any size, or can we have a bilateral alliance just to do something very much in line with the 4 per thousand objective and strategy? Is that correct?
Well, to have ally, you need to be at least 2.
Yes.
So I think your interpretation is good. You can start at 2. If you find somebody else to come, he can join.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
I have also an alliance with my wife. And that's only 2. Yeah, now, finally, we have the presentation of Claudia Schepp about how to implement the strategic plan. Microphone is there. Claudia Schepp used to work in my office during the last 3 months until the very last day before the meeting here. And now she knows what hard work is, and you can bring your experiences here into the arena of the secretary. Thanks a lot for that, what you did for us.
Okay, hello everybody. I think I will really pick up from where Beatrice stopped actually. So thanks Beatrice for preparing that road for me that nicely. And it's exactly where your questions were pointing at actually. So we developed an instrument which we call the strategy implementation cycle, which actually aims at facilitating. I just pick it up, maybe that's easier. Sorry, so I guess you picked up my first bit anyway. It was okay. So as I said, to really foster these alliances, we developed an instrument which we call the strategy implementation cycle. Okay, I think the background I don't need to give it, but we are here now in this part where the cycle was mentioned, so where it's really about the implementation of the strategy. Sorry about that. So maybe what's the background of that is that those of you who are familiar with the strategy, we have this objective A2, which is project development. And you know that for each objective, we formulate or rephrase some problem statements. And the problem statement, which is on the next slide of the objective A2, is that, that there's a lack or that there are few national and international mechanisms supporting the emergence of innovative projects that focus on soil health and organic and carbon sequestration, and that the impacts of these projects on the ground are not well documented or communicated. So we're reacting on the problem which was phrased in the strategy here. So what's the aim or the purpose of the cycle we developed? On the next slide, you can see, so for one, we want to foster the exchange on ongoing projects, which goes along with, we want to identify what the gaps are, like where further collaboration and work is needed. And then consequently, it somehow goes together. We want to assist our friends and partners of the initiative in the formation of interdisciplinary, not necessarily, but I think this is one of the main purposes of such a big network with many different stakeholders, of interdisciplinary consortia, which can then work on common ideas and create projects they want to implement then. Yes, and then there should also, the linkage to the initiative should support the acquisition of funding for the different project holders. Okay, so I will just try to quickly take you to the different steps of this implementation cycle. So the very first step, which has already been launched, is the consolidation of the task forces. I'm sure all of you got at least one, hopefully several emails asking you to sign up for a task force or to renew your membership, because if you remember, when we were in the process of designing the strategy, formulating the problem statements and stuff, some of you already signed up for task forces to work on that. And now we, of course, continue to work on the same issues, but focus on implementation. So we would like you to renew your membership if you had already signed up for a task force before. Otherwise, please join the task force now and contribute with your work to that. Okay, so there are many clicks now. Okay, we can just put up the whole thing. Okay, so once the task forces have been consolidated, task force leaders will be nominated, and everybody can apply to be a task force leader when signing up for a task force. And then in the first phase, we do this stock taking and planning. So like getting an overview of what's actually happening on the ground already. And then like what's our role is to facilitate those meetings of the people working in a similar field, which are gathered in one task force. And to, alongside of that, organize thematic events which could contribute to the project development if there are if there are knowledge gaps, if further input from outside is needed. So this would be kind of the support we from the Secretariat offer in that process. Because then we hope that we can move in this area here where we are in 2 and 3, which is ideation and team building, as well as the project conception. So within each task force, we hope that several project groups will actually evolve. So people who have bilateral or multilateral cooperations on a certain topic, who come together and create ideas on how to push a certain objective further. Like how can we really implement this objective on the ground? Yes, and as I said, we will be alongside you in this process and help you with the ideation. Okay, then the outcome of that would be a project concept. Okay, so the different project teams should develop a project concept note, which can then be used for the acquisition of funding. So we somehow build a business case, which we can try to convey to donors and funding organizations to actually get funding for the projects which have been developed in the first phase. And we're strongly convinced that the linkage to the Catch-up for Mill initiative can be helpful in that process. Yes, and once that has been done, of course, complete project proposals have to be formulated according to the needs of the different funding organizations. And then hopefully the project teams can move into the implementation phase where action is really put on the ground. Okay, Beatrice, can you go on? Okay, so the next slide you will see will show you an overview of the different task forces, but I don't want to go into detail on that now. I think it would be really worth for you to go on the wiki where we have the whole strategy with all the different activities and see where your work would fit best, like which task force you could allocate yourself to. So please follow up on that on the wiki. And lastly, just slightly on the next steps. As I said, please sign up for the task forces. And then hopefully by January 2023, we're going to nominate the task force leaders and then have the first task force meetings early 23, hopefully before Easter, to really get the work started. Okay, I will leave it with that. Thank you very much.
Also, thank you very much to you, Claudia, and for the hard work which is behind it. Then looking at the presentation, there are so many elements, so many things which have to be done. So really great and hard work so far, but it's right the starting point, if I understand it right. We have questions to that. As you mentioned, the presentation also. Jean-François. Take that one.
Yeah, thank you. So thank you for the presentation. I noticed that in total we have 50 people in the task force that are active. And quite obviously, this is possibly not what you expect, because what you expect is, given the size of the initiative, would be 10 times more, even higher numbers. So I guess we have to think about what is the added value for members to be active in those task forces, and what are the perceived benefits they get out of this. Because, you know, in the real world, people have many ways of contacting each other, and possibly they don't need the platform. And possibly also there are some access problems to the platform. As you know, I'm experiencing an access problem myself. So I think we have to possibly complement this. And I was curious to know if you're organizing webinars and organizing some real exchanges between people, not only through electronic platforms, which is a bit theoretical. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean-François. That's a very valid question, actually.
Yes. If I'm sorry.
Yes, please go ahead.
It's very much on the same line, and it's a very nice, very conceptual. I think that it's a very nice framework. But maybe we can also think of a more practical. If someone wants to work with another one, maybe there is no need to be as very much linked to the platform. What is the added value? For example, my company IRD is organizing a workshop currently in Niger addressing one of the objectives, and this has been done without having put any effort on saying that through the platform. You see what I mean? It's very much practical from the ground, and maybe we should be able to do both. That means that facilitate the collaboration through this very nice framework, but also let's people and let's collaboration from the ground and put after them into the platform. You see what I mean? Not obviously using the platform for every project, but be aware of what is going on the ground and use them to put them in the platform. Mm-hmm. Bottom up and top down, okay. if I may.
Yeah, thank you very much for that comment. I think that's a very valid point, and I think we need to make sure, maybe I have to clarify on that. So not all of these actions should happen on the wiki only. So I mentioned the wiki because you can find all the information on the strategy and like the space to link to sign up for the task forces on the wiki. So the wiki can be a very valuable tool in international cooperation because everybody has access. Jean-François, I know it might be difficult, but in theory, it's a very good tool to collaborate. So we have to use it as a tool and not only as a means of information, I would say. But at the same time, I think I have to point out different activities we're already undertaking, because on the one hand, we have this, what Samuel, I don't know where he is now, is doing is like this communication of ongoing activities. So that's why we ask our members to send us their activities so we can promote them in the entire network. And I think this is crucial, and this is definitely top down, bottom up, because these are the events you are planning, you are organizing, which are already there. We are just here to help you to communicate it to a bigger audience, I would say. So this is one thing. Then we have the events in the community of practice, which are organized by us, which are webinars. I don't know if you have attended some of them, and we will make sure in the upcoming year that we will link them as much as possible to the webinar series of the STC so that we don't duplicate efforts there. But we had high-level people speaking in these webinars on certain topics, and like everybody in the community of practice was able to raise the topic. So, you know, we had the demand coming from the bottom, and then we help people in organizing that. And the aim is that once people are organized in the task forces, we will also link it to this process. But the task forces we are creating now are really about future actions. So this is not about communicating what you're already doing, but it's about bringing people together to come up with new ideas, like how to collaborate and what can be done on the ground. So it's the next step we're taking here. I hope that makes it clear.
Yeah, thank you very much, Claudia. Was it okay? I cannot see you from here. Okay, thank you very much. Are there additional questions, comments? If not, just short comment from my side. Thank you very much, Claudia, and the whole team. And thank you very much for that very important background work. And the clear message was bottom up is always better than top down. And then I think, as you explained, that's exactly what you are doing, what you are willing, and you provide now the instruments that bottom up can work in reality and in practice. Now, Paul, comments?
No, I just want to make a small announcement, but whenever you will have.
Then before you make an announcement, then I like to close this session again with a big thank you to the Secretariat and to all that work what has been done. Big thank you to the SCC and their work, which is really important. And also, of course, big thank you to all the members and partners, because there is no need for a Secretariat, or there's no need for an SCC if there are no members and partners. Yeah, that's very clear. That initiative only works if we work together and if members and partners support that, what the Secretariat or the SCC is doing. So that's really very, very clear. And it's not only money, of course, some money you need, but it's also input. We need the input from all of you, from all the members and partners, just to conduct the work and what Claudia said, the new ideas. Really important. So no additional comments? No. Okay. Then I close that meeting with a thank you to all the speakers also. We had a lot of them, but I think it was good to hear from all the different speakers, from the policy sector, from the science sector, from the private sector, not only how important soil carbon sequestration is, but farmers, yes, farmers also, not only how important soil carbon sequestration is, but to hear that it's really crucial for future climate change policies worldwide. Thank you very much.